Hi. Well, this is the first video in the series where I'm going to talk about all the possible named HQs. At first this will be for the Space Marines Ultramarines chapter. I'm then going to go on to discuss my own army that I'm building at the moment, which is my own Space Marine chapter, but I'll do another video on that. But we've got to start, and I'm going to make these really short and snappy, and just a couple of things I like and dislike. And at the end I'm going to make a judgment and rate them out of 10, whether I think they're worth the point you have to pay to put them in the army. So I'm going to start with Marnius Calgar. Now he's a base 250 points, and that's for strength 6, no, weapon skill 6, so that's pretty average for a captain. Ballistic skill 5, strength 4, toughness 4, so all pretty generic. 4 wounds, which is better. Initiative 5, but that'll drop to 1 as he's got 2 power fists, so only for the sake of initiative tests, which don't really occur all that often. But yeah, initiative 5 nonetheless. He's got 4 attack standard, but that'll be 5 standard really, because he's got 2 close combat weapons, because the gauntlets Ultramar are 2 power fists. Yep, and then he's got leadership 10 and a 3+ armor save, which obviously is let down, but you can pay to make that 2+, which I think for 15 points you'd be mad not to. So I would always pay the 275. So I'm going to count him in terms of the discussion as a leader, costing the whopping, apart from now Angron's out, the max, the top of the range, the height that a Warhammer leader will get to ever, 275 points, which is an absolutely massive cost when I could have 2 captains and a few scouts, which I'll discuss whether I think that's actually worth it. Right, firstly, he has orbital bombardment, which is obviously immensely useful for getting rid of any squad that's thrown out into the open. I mean, the strength 10 AP1, that gets rid of anything. Huge squads of guardsmen, clears them. He gets rid of squads of tactical marines marching on the board, clears things off objectives, destroys vehicles. So orbital bombardment, obviously the thing you'd look for. If you could, you'd have it on every model. But you are paying a lot for this. But yeah, so not the most accurate thing because you don't get to minus your ballistic skill, but still well worth the points. Then let's look at his other specials. He has Titanic Might, which is probably his best special. He rerolls all rolls to wound. That is absolutely unbelievable, especially when we go on to look at his Gauntlets of Ultramar, because he's going to be hitting generally in close combat on a 3+. So let's say we'll say he charges. You say you play clever and he gets the charge. So he goes in with 6. Let's say you get 4 through. With the Gauntlets of Ultramar, you're always going to be seems to be strength 8, so you're always going to be generally wounding on 2+. To reroll, so you're going to get almost 4 instant death attacks through every single time with him. So for that reason, he seems to be well worth his points, especially when you look at his gauntlets with the guns he's got in them. Then you start to realize you're going to really want to use then that reroll to wound, because he may be ballistic 5, so he's hitting on the 2+. That's fantastic. So he has 2 gauntlets Ultramar, each with a built-in special gun, which is 24 inches, strength 4, AP2, assault 2, as he gets 2 of them in each gauntlet. Now, the best thing with this is you get 4 shots, hitting on 2s. So I'll say you're unlucky, and I'm going to say you get 3 shots that actually get through. The problem with the strength 4 is that you're then winning on 4s. So then we'll generally say, let's say you're really unlucky and you fell 2. With that extra 4, you're almost certainly going to get at least 2 instant death shots through. Maybe even 4 if you're really, really lucky, you get your 4 through, and then you just rerolls really well. So Titanic Might is one of the most overpowered things in the game. I have to say that I'm going to try and keep these two below 7 minutes. So almost there. Marnius Calgar now. The other thing to look at is obviously got he can choose to fail morale tests. Yeah, it's hardly really worth the points, is it? Yeah, I suppose you might find a situation where you really need to reroll, really need to fail. Come on, and you could say, alright, I choose to fail. I think you can also choose to pass. Oh, I didn't write that up because I wasn't going to talk about it. But then I looked at the video time, it's not very long. So yeah, let's say you can choose to pass. he can choose to pass. So all these things, obviously, really positive about Marnius Calgar. But finally, is he worth 275 points? When we compare him to someone like... Oh, also, I forgot to mention, I'm paying 275, so I get a teleport Homer. That could be really essential, especially as the army I'm going to build. Probably use him, just put a couple of spotted scouts in. And the other great thing about him, almost forgot to mention this, unless I'm going to bring it up if you ever commented, is that he can take 3 scores, not 1 score, honor guard. Now, personally, I love honor guard. Get chapter banner with him. You can sort of protect Marnius Calgar, make him a really survivable character. Get 3 squads, and they can actually be quite a survivable then sort of unit, and then he looks kind of decent. But it's not like Logan Grimnar makes Terminate Wolfguard troops, or Dante who can make Sanguinary Guard troops, which is one of the most overpowered armies you could possibly build a whole army of Sanguinary Guard with Sanguinary Priest. That's when your army just becomes dumb. Because Dante's been anyway, but I might do another video on him. So Honor Guard's not the best thing. On Coty is obviously the greatest one of them all. Can take 72 Death Cult Assassin if you take Coty's, which is an army I almost started, but when you look at the price of Death Cult Assassin, you think, So I'm going to have a small detachment. We'll talk about my army later. Finally, is he worth his points? I am gonna say no. Simply because toughness 4, very easily wounded, initiative 1, always going to attack. At least he's going to attack last unless they've got weapon skill 0. I don't know why I'm going to be fighting weapon skill 0. I always try and get that charge. But yeah, I don't think he's worth his points personally. I think there's better leaders out there for 275. Abaddon is infinitely better than this guy. I mean, yeah, Titanic Might's good and you get the orbital bombardment, but is he going to make his points back? I think not. If you disagree with me, so finally, his mark, I'm going to give him 7 out of 10. So his mark. So whether you disagree with me or agree with me, please write in the comments below. It's been my first video. I'm out.